Say this way, I think the pressure is everywhere the same. The only difference is that obviously this season the pressure, the expectations from everybody, we are underperforming in that way, so you feel more pressure, let's say this way.
I see.
So that makes everything a little bit bigger, that makes the feeling of pressure bigger. But yeah, what I said, I think in every club there's a lot of pressure, and yeah, it's the same in this club.
Do you think, I mean, probably at the moment, it's fair to say, it feels like you're a long way off from what Manchester United would hope to be and maybe expect to be. But do you also think sometimes you're not as far away as you think? I think you've spoken in the past, you had a difficult season with Ajax, and then all of a sudden you win Eredivisie, you're not a million miles away from winning the Champions League. Equally the reverse side of that, your first season at Juve, it's 9 in a row for the title, and it looks like Juve will win the Serie A forever, and they haven't won it since. So
we'll get back to Matthijs in just a quick second, but remember, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D video hits. And also, don't forget, if you've got something to say, please put it in the comments. The Big D reads all of the comments, and he's keen to read what is on your mind. Anyway, this little clip is from an interview with Matthijs de Ligt, Manchester United's newest colossal Dutch defender. And he's going to be talking about, playing for Manchester United, playing for Ruben Amorim, the pressure of playing for Manchester United and other big teams like Juventus, and Ajax and Bayern Munich. And yeah, he's going to be talking about sort of the struggles he had, when he was a 19-year-old leaving his homeland. Anyway, stick around for after the clip, because the Big D is going to be giving his thoughts on Matthijs de Ligt and his role at Manchester United. Here's Matthijs.
I saw another interview that you did actually fairly recently, since you've been a United player, and you were talking about the move from Ajax to Juve, and you said, I wasn't allowed to be a kid when I was still a kid. Remember saying that?
Yeah.
I made me feel kind of a little bit sad, actually. Do you know what I mean? That all of us, especially as teenagers, kind of make mistakes in life and at work, and just to think that you had all those bits of your life play out in public kind of made me see it from another perspective, made me think actually how tough some of that must have been.
Yeah, no, of course, it has been tough. Obviously, going to another country at 19 years of age, learning a new language, not getting the time to get used to a new country, new league, new club, with a lot of criticism in the beginning if you made a mistake. So, yeah, as a young kid, this is quite difficult, and it's always hard, I think, for a new player to go to a new club or a new country, but especially at this age, it's more difficult.
And it's this is a young guy, let's give him time. We're Juventus, it's 75 million. He's got to be a superstar from minute one, basically.
Yeah, no, but obviously that's also why they bought you for this amount. So you know that this pressure is there, and you have to. You have to perform right away. But I think what I also said in that interview is that sometimes it would have been nice for me, I think, as a footballer to develop, to have maybe a little bit more of these years where you can really focus on developing, you know what I mean? And instead of performing right away. But in the end, I'm really happy and grateful the way everything worked out, and yeah, I learned also a lot from it. So it's not only that I'm feeling sad for myself that I didn't have this youth. So
Ajax, Juve, Bayern, United, 4 huge monster clubs. Is the pressure the same everywhere, or slightly different from club to club, country to country?
Well, I think I've been lucky to play for probably the 4 biggest clubs in every country. So in every club the pressure is the same. The pressure is high, you have to win. Ajax, if you don't win, the supporters are... I've experienced once that the supporters were waiting before the stadium when we came back after a loss away, and they were really angry at us, and we had to go out of the bus. So, yeah, that's also happening in Holland. In Juventus, the Italians, they are really passionate about football. So, you can be an absolute hero or you can be an absolute, No, and I think the only difference between Ajax and, for example, Manchester United is that it's more worldwide. I think United has such a big fan base all around the world, so I think you can feel it, especially nowadays with the social media, that it's a really big difference. I think before maybe the players couldn't really feel this difference because obviously social media was not so big at that time. But especially now on social media and with all the fans from all the other countries, obviously you feel that United is one of the biggest clubs in the world.
For sure. Do you think you're better, stronger, have learnt more from having been at 4 big clubs already? I'm sure you you see the comments, hear people say, 4 clubs, he's only 25. Why is that? Is that a negative? How do you react to it?
No, I can imagine that people think this way. I think I'm a better player than I was 19, just because the fact I have more experience. I've played, what you said, in really big clubs, and I think also that every step I made had a meaning behind it. I mean, I went from Ajax to Juventus to learn to play in a different country on a higher level, and that went actually quite well. Obviously, if you're that young, it's not that easy, but I think the first season we became champion. I played, I think, almost every game in the end. Second season, third season was also quite okay, good from an individual perspective. Then I went to Bayern because I had the feeling with Bayern it was another step above. They just won the Champions League, so I felt like this could be a really good step for me. Had 2 really nice years at Bayern, winning the league. But also last season we were really close to play the Champions League final. Then the summer Manchester United came, and it was always for me a dream to play in the Premier League, also to kind of see how you do compared to the other guys in the Premier League. So that was also for me in the end an easy decision to make.
But it was interesting to hear you say that for all you've experienced, the 3 massive clubs that have come before, maybe the pressure here is the highest. And I think you said that had you come here, maybe say direct from Ajax, you might not cope with it, you felt.
Yeah, I think that, let's say this way, I think the pressure is everywhere the same. The only difference is that obviously this season, the pressure, the expectations from everybody, we are underperforming in that way, so you feel more pressure. Let's say this way.
I see.
So that makes everything a little bit bigger. That makes the feeling of pressure bigger. But what I said, I think in every club there's a lot of pressure, and it's the same in this club.
Do you think? I mean, probably at the moment, it's fair to say it feels like you're a long way off from what Manchester United would hope to be and maybe expect to be. But do you also think sometimes you're not as far away as you think? I think you've spoken in the past, you had a difficult season with Ajax, and then all of a sudden you win Eredivisie, you're not a million miles away from winning the Champions League. Equally the reverse side of that, your first season at Juve, it's 9 in a row for the title, and it looks like Juve will win the Serie A forever, and they haven't won it since. So football's not always as kind of locked in as you think. No, definitely. And what you said really well was like Juventus, they won 9 in a row, and I think now for 5 years they hadn't won it. So maybe everybody was expecting, it will keep going like this. But what I say, football changed, and I think the most important thing is, especially if you start from scratch, is to give yourself time, to give yourself the right tools and the right environment to grow. And as you said, in football, everything can change really quickly. Do you feel like that is the case at the moment? Like you've got the right tools as a team, like you are in the right environment, that maybe, as we've discussed, you're not as far away as it looks. Do you feel that?
Yeah, I feel that you're training every day to improve as a team, to improve individually. Obviously, the manager came in. He's now here for 4 months, and I think we made some improvement compared to the first games. Obviously, we still have to improve a lot more because we're still in the 13th place in the league. I think you can see in the Europa League that we're winning all the games. Also in the cups, in the FA Cup, we're still there. So yeah, you can see some improvement, but I think the improvement most times will come after certain months, after a long time, because I think if there's an improvement made in the first weeks, first months, it means like it's more of a shock effect instead of really improving as a team. So I think this improvement we still have to be made, and hopefully we can continue like this and improve even more.
What's Ruben Amorim like to work with, particularly out on these training pitches? Because I mean, I've just interviewed him a few minutes ago. He's an incredible communicator, but obviously at the moment that's not being reflected in the results.
Yeah, no, he's really well spoken, as you said, like really communicative. It's really easy to talk to him also. On the pitch, he's really demanding from us. He really demands 100% every moment. A lot of sprinting, a lot of high intensity. So that's basically how I would describe him. And I like the way I like a trainer who is who can speak well, with who you can have a normal conversation. So yeah, that's all quite good.
So since you've been here, how many questions have you had about three at the back?
A lot.
And is it different?
Yeah, it is different, but
because defending the 1v1s in wide areas, what's the biggest change?
Yeah, to be fair, that's not so much different, because I think if you play 4 in the back, you also come in these situations. But yeah, there's always talk about different systems. Obviously, it's a little bit different. Otherwise, it's not a different system. But the most important thing is how you fulfill these positions, how you work together as a group, I think, and then the system shouldn't be that big of a matter.
Yeah, do you think actually that like, talk of formations almost become a little bit outdated? Certainly, probably actually in England more than the Netherlands, formations would often be quite rigid, 4-4-2, but actually now you're building up in a different shape. You then, when the opposition's got the ball, you switch shape again. So perhaps kind of just the way we do lining up a team on a graphic, it doesn't quite work like that anymore. And maybe that's even changed since you've been a player.
Yeah, to be fair, like when I came through, I was 2016, I think. Tactics were obviously every coach had a tactic, but it was not so advanced as right now. Right now, I have the feeling that it's all tactic and everything is tactic. Even in corner kicks, you have like tactics, and throw-ins, you have tactics. You know, like 8 years ago, that was, for my feeling, not the case.
You sound like an old veteran now, Matthijs.
I feel like one sometimes, but I think tactics are. We speak a lot about tactics, but in the end, tactics are always the second most important thing. I think the most important thing is how the behavior on the pitch, like how you work, how you sprint, how bad you want to win. You know what I mean? And then the tactic comes second. You can have amazing tactics, but if the team is not performing well, if the team doesn't have the confidence or the will to win the games, it's going to be really difficult.
So last one, I think. How hard are you and your teammates and the manager, everyone else concerned with the first team, working out on these training pitches to get results better, to get Manchester United back to where, you'd all think they belong?
No, I think we work really hard. We work, especially on the days when we have the possibility to train really hard, because obviously we played a lot of games, so then it's not really smart to train really hard. So especially the days that we can train really hard, we train really hard. Maybe if I speak for myself in my career, maybe even the hardest trainings I've had. So this is for sure the case. We're working really hard to get United back where it belongs, but as we know in football, it's a big operation, I think, to get United back where it belongs, and this takes time. And what I said, we work as hard as possible, and with the manager also, and hopefully we can keep improving step by step.
Yeah, well, it's well documented, the situation Manchester United currently find themselves in. And there's been a lot of criticism thrown around at the club and the people who run the club, Glazers out, Sir Jim out, let's get the Qataris back in, and or get them in, shall we say, and Ineos, the rubbish, they can't run a cycling company, let alone a football club, etc., etc., etc. And I think there is some truth to all of that, because Manchester United are in a situation that they shouldn't be in. But it is what it is. However, I've got to give the devil his due, because I feel as though the signings Ineos have brought into the club have actually been really good. Really, really, really good. There's still work to be done with some of the players, but considering we haven't spent an absolute fortune, and for what we've got, I think we've definitely got value for money, and I think there's some players there with a very high ceiling. Obviously, we've got Ugarte, who's getting better and better. We've got Mazraoui, Dorgu's come in now. He looked tasty against Tottenham Hotspur. Xerxes growing into his role. And the one that I was the most excited about was Matthijs de Ligt. And I've noticed that he has been getting a bit of criticism from certain sections of the United fan base. And I can't understand why. Because most of the time when I see him play, I mean, don't get me wrong, no one's perfect, no one's Paolo Maldini, except Paolo Maldini. But at the very least, he has got stuck in every single game. He fights for the badge on his shirt. He's a competitor. He's a monster. You can tell it means so much to him when he plays. And he just gives 100% every game, as far as I can tell. And I think he's played really, really well. And considering he's still only about, 24 or something? And he's coming to a new country and into the Premier League, the most physical league in the world. And it just feels like he's just slotted in, no problem. And it's been like, he just fits Manchester United like a glove. And I hope and I predict that he's going to be a Manchester United defender for a long time to come. Because I remember when he signed for Juventus, Ollie wanted him at the time, but I don't think we wanted to pay the 70 million I think he was going for at the time. And I felt as though that was a mistake then. But it's interesting that he talks about this in the clip. He talks about if he came to Manchester United straight from Ajax, he might not have been able to cope because of the pressure. But anyway, he went to Juventus and did well, but I never felt as though that was a good fit for him. There's just sometimes there just comes a player, there's certain players that suit certain clubs. For whatever reason it is, they just suit certain clubs, and some players don't suit certain clubs as well. Like Angel Di Maria. He came to Manchester United. It didn't suit it. It just didn't suit United. Didn't suit him. Robin Van Persie suited Manchester United. Roy Keane suited Manchester United. Nemanja Vidic, Edwin van der Sar suited Manchester United. And in this instance, Matthijs de Ligt looks like he was born to wear that shirt. And perhaps, maybe it's the Dutch connection. That could have something to do with it. And we've had a lot of good Dutch players over the years, and hopefully he's going to be the next Colossus that plays for us. I mean, so we've had Jaap Stam, we've had Ruud van Nistelrooy, we've had Robin van Persie, we've now got Matthijs de Ligt, we've had Edwin van der Sar as well. It's been a lot of good players that we've got from Holland over the years. Almost been a feeder country for Manchester United to one degree or another. But there's just something about Matthijs de Ligt, and I think it's that. He didn't seem to suit Juventus, but when he went to Bayern Munich, I think it was a step in the right direction for him. I think he suited Bayern Munich a little bit as well. But for some reason they sold him, and I don't understand why. And that is the big question, the big question mark with him, because why are these big teams selling him? I kind of understand why Juventus sold him, because I think they needed to sort of fall back in line with their version of PSR or financial fair play and whatnot. But Bayern Munich, I don't get it. And it says a lot when the Bayern Munich fans set up a petition which tens of thousands of Bayern Munich fans signed to state their displeasure that they were selling who they thought was their best defender. So it's funny that maybe Manchester United just got lucky. Maybe that's what it was. In the same way that Bayern Munich got lucky with Arjen Robben, and how Inter Milan got lucky with Wesley Sneijder, because those were clearly two world-class players. They went to Real Madrid. It didn't work out. So they both got sold to Bayern Munich and Inter Milan, respectively. And they both went on to win the Champions League with those two clubs, respectively. So hopefully, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. Should I say it? Yeah, why not? It might cheer myself up. Hopefully, at some point, Matthijs de Ligt wins the Champions League with Manchester United. Because the Big D's got a lot of high hopes for Matthijs de Ligt. And it was interesting, the interviewer there mentioned sometimes you're not far away from what it is that you want to achieve, and you're closer than you realise. I mean, the Big D can hold his hands up and attest to that, because 1 minute the Big D was struggling with his YouTube channel, the next minute he was, from one video, the next minute he's monetized and he's a fully fledged YouTube partner member. So these things can happen. And also, I mean, the Big D, he's also a professional actor. Classically trained, went to drama school a lot, and 15 years experience. Yada, yada, yada. But there was a decade before I became professional where I struggled. But then overnight, something happened. Boom, got an agent, and then I started being on telly and whatnot. So the same thing can happen with Manchester United. And it just seems in this instance, excuse the Big D. Anyway, it just seems in this instance that Manchester United are crying out for one, maybe two players that just makes the difference. And the team as a whole seems to be lacking confidence. The defence doesn't seem to be lacking too much confidence. Matthijs de Ligt looks like a very, very confident young man. He comes across well in that interview and when he plays, and he doesn't seem to be fazed by playing for Manchester United under the dreaded Manchester United microscope. But the attack seems to lack a lot of confidence. And it just seems as though United are one or two players away who could provide a little bit of magic that could propel them forward, start scoring goals, build the confidence, and then just carry the team forward and in the right direction. And it only takes one player signed, maybe two in Manchester United's instance in this case. But one, provided they didn't get injured, one could take Manchester United into the top six, no problem. No problem. I've used this analogy before, but Luis Suarez took an average Liverpool side to a title challenge, like literally on his own, basically. They were well organised and solidly set up, fair enough, but he was the only truly world-class player in that team at that time. And he was that good. He was phenomenal, Luis Suarez. And I say that through gritted teeth, seeing he's a Scouser. But you've got to give the devil his due in that instance. Luis Suarez was a phenomenal player. But the point the Big D's making is one player can make a difference. And I think Matthijs de Ligt has made a difference for Manchester United in defence. And I know we have conceded a lot of goals, that's fair enough. But I think a lot of that comes from the attack not relieving the pressure from the defence. And because of that, they get caught out. But as soon as the attack starts doing what it's doing, that allows the defence, time to sort of regroup, reset, and then prepare for the next counter-attack and whatnot. But if a defence doesn't matter who it is, if a defence is consistently being bombarded, then eventually they're going to concede goals. Doesn't matter who's playing, whether it's Maldini, Baresi, or Matthijs de Ligt. Doesn't matter. And also, it hasn't helped the way United have been set up as well, because there's been times when we've played with 5 defenders, so that's not good. That's not good. So yeah, Matthijs de Ligt, it just seems as though he needs the Manchester United attack to sort itself out a bit, and just create that balance in the team. Alex Ferguson used to talk about balance all the time. It's no good just having all your best players on the pitch at all times. As it's been discussed, there's got to be the right profile in the team, and they've all got to fulfill their own specific roles within the tactics that are being employed by the manager at any one time. So yeah, I still say that it's a simple fix with Manchester United, and hopefully Ruben Amorim can get it right, and Ineos. And I've got a feeling that yeah, I mean, I have to say, I cannot complain with Ineos' signing so far, and I've got a feeling that they are at the very least going to buy the right players for what the team needs. As soon as was humanly possible, they got the left back in Dorgu, and he looks good. They had the chance to get Tell, but they looked at the situation and they were like, no, doesn't matter that we're in a bad situation. If we're going to buy someone, we're going to buy the right profile player. So, I mean, time will tell. Time will indeed tell. But who that number 9 is going to be remains to be seen. I've got a feeling it's going to be Gyökeres. And if it is him, I hope he is the right person. And it's not another Erik Ten Hag situation where we just buy the players that the manager used to play with and used to coach in his previous club. But we'll see. But anyway, what do you guys think of Matthijs de Ligt? Do you think he's been one of the shining stars of an otherwise dismal season so far? Do you think he could be improving? If so, how can he improve? Or do you think he's wasted in this Manchester United team and that we are lucky to have him? As always, the Big D is always keen on what you've got to say, so please, thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.